Hello, fifth graders. Today, we're going on a spy mission to find common denominators. Now, the way we're going to find these common denominators is by first finding the multiples of the denominators. So what do I mean when I say denominator? I mean the bottom of the fraction. So everybody in their notebooks write 1/3. And we want to focus on the 3 as our denominator. So what are the multiples of our denominator? Well, multiples are the same as skip counting. Or you could think 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, or we could just skip count by 3s. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. And we only have to do a few at first because we have to see what our other fraction that we're working with looks like. And in this case, we are going to work with 4/15. All right, so let's skip count by 15s now. We have 15, and we have 30, and we have 45. Now, to find the least common multiple, which is also known as LCM, least common multiple, we need to list the multiples, and then we need to find the smallest number that matches. So here we have 15 in each. Okay, so what this means is we need to turn both the 3 and the 15 to look like 15s. Well, lucky for us, the 15 already looks like a 15th. So we can keep 4/15 the same. Now that we know our least common denominator, we're going to set it up like this. Times a fraction is going to equal, and we're going to do times a fraction is going to equal. Okay, now the bottom one, because that's already a 15th, we know that we don't have to do anything to it. Now a fraction that's going to give us the same answer or itself is going to be 1/1. Now, what do we put up here? Well, I know that we want to get from 3 to 15. So what can we multiply 3 by to get 15? Well, if you said 5, you are correct. Now, what do we put above the 5? Well, we know that anything times 1 is itself. So we need to find a fraction that is equal to 1. Well, like we said before, a fraction bar is the same as division. So what two numbers can divide to get us 1? Well, we have 2/2, we have 3/3, we have 4/4, we have 5/5, and we could keep going. Not 5/6, 5/5. Now, we're going to call all the fractions that are equal to 1, we're going to call them our secret agent makeup artists, because they can turn any fraction to make them look like a different fraction. They're still the same fraction, they just look a little differently. So we're going to do 1/3 times, which makeup artist are we going to use over here? Right, 5/5. Because 5/5 is equal to 1. So we're allowed to multiply by 1 whenever we want. We're going to get the same number, but with fractions, they might look a little different, especially because we're using a makeup artist. So 3 times 5 equals 15. Whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. So we're going to go 1 times 5 equals 5. We're even seeing a little sneak peek of a future lesson where we're going to multiply fractions, because when you multiply fractions, you go straight across the top and straight across the bottom. So that's kind of what we're doing here. That is what we're doing here. So what this tells me is that 1/3 is the same as 5/15. These are the same fraction. They just look different. But we know they're the same because all we did was multiply by a fraction equal to 1. So now that we have 5/15 and 4/15, now we're allowed to add or subtract them. All right, so here is our mission. We have the fraction 1/3, and we have the fraction 1/4. These are our two best secret agents that we have. The problem is they need to sneak in and be spies in the world of the twelfths. So our goal right now is to figure out which makeup artist to use so they can look like a 12th, so they can get into the world of the 12ths to work their magic with their spying. So what are we going to multiply? Which makeup artist are we going to use to make them look like a 12th? Even though we know that they're actually not changing. So look at our makeup artists over here. Do we see one that we could use? Well, if you said 4/4, you are correct for this top one, right? Now, how did we get 4/4? Well, we need to look at the denominators. We want to get from 3 to 12. So 3 times what equals 12? Well, we know that's 4. Now, we're only allowed to multiply by fractions that are equal to 1. So if the bottom is a 4, then the top must be a 4 also. Once we do 3 times 4 here, we get 12. So whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. 1 times 4 is 4. Now, 1/4 is meeting with a makeup artist. Which makeup artist are they going to meet with? 3/3, you are correct, because 4 times 3 equals 12. Whatever you do to the bottom, you got to do to the top. 1 times 3 is 3. So now 4/12 and 3/12 can enter the world of the 12ths, and they'll never know that they're actually 1/3 and 1/4. All right, our final task is to kind of visualize why this works. Why are these fractions still equal? So I want to show you by using some models here. So in your notebook, write 1/3 equals 4/12, and then draw this shape underneath. And then on a separate area, I want you to write 1/4 equals 3/12 and draw that shape underneath. And pause the video if you have to. But once you're ready, we're going to first look at the 1/3. Now, if we look at my picture here, we're already separated into thirds. There's 1, 2, 3. And I know that 1/3 I would shade in right here. That would represent 1 out of 3 of those bars shaded in. Now, we're claiming that 1/3 equals 4/12. So what kind of lines could I add to this shape to make 12 equal boxes? Well, if you said 3 vertical lines, I think that will work. 1, 2, 3. So let's count our boxes now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12 equal boxes, and look how many are shaded in still. 1, 2, 3, 4. So out of 12 boxes, 4 are shaded in. Before we added those 3 lines, there was 3 equal boxes with 1 of them shaded in. So this kind of proves that these are equal. All right, let's try 1/4 equals 3/12. So right now, we want to shade in 1 section out of 4 because it's 1/4. Now, if it was 2/4, we would shade in a second section, but right now it's just 1 out of 4. So this picture here represents 1/4. So how do we make it represent 3/12 now? Think about it. What would you do? Well, we already have the vertical line, so let's try to add horizontal lines this time. If I add 1 horizontal line across the middle, that will give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That would change it into eighths. So what if we do 2 horizontal lines, 1 up here and 1 right here? Does that give me 12 equal sections? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Awesome. Now, 12ths, we have a numerator, which is the top number in a fraction, of 3. Did that hold true? We got 1, we have 2, and we have 3. So 1/4 is the same as 3/12. All right, it is now time to prove your mastery. So if you're taking this on Edpuzzle, then the quiz is about to pop up for you. And what I want you to do is pause the video here before you take the quiz. I want you to try the workbook page independently. Make sure to check in with Mr. Pietzak so you can check for understanding. And then once you feel confident to prove that you're a master, then you can come back and finish this quiz.